welcome to the Love Positivism podcast. I'm your host, Shireen, and I'm the creator of Love Positivism. I'm here to help you on your spiritual and healing journey. I am a certified yoga and meditation teacher, a student of Chinese medicine, a doula, a Reiki practitioner, and a passionate, highly sensitive person. I want to use my knowledge to channel information and messages for you to grow on all levels. Hi, and welcome to this week's episode. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope you had a beautiful week. I'm so excited for this week's episode. I have my guest Serva on, and she's going to talk about human design. I have been hearing about human design for a long time, but I never knew exactly the science behind it. It's really interesting, actually, how it comes from many different ancient sciences, and it's really astrology on another level. It's like taking information and knowledge from different fields and just interpreting the essence, your blueprint. So I'm really excited. And Serva is a professional human design coach trained by Jenna Zoe, and yeah, she just makes a great episode with reading my chart and explaining the different types of constitutions, designs, and she works with human design chart, which is a body graph that it's really beautiful. You can just Google on this to see how the actual map looks, and then if you want a reading from a professional, you can connect with Serva as well to understand it a little bit more deeper. So thank you so much for listening and enjoy this week's episode. Hi Serva, welcome to the podcast.
Oh my God, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to do this.
I'm so happy that you're here. And I always start by asking, how do you stay mindful and present in your daily life?
How do I stay mindful and present? Wow. To be honest with you, I have to disengage from my phone. So I meditate. I put my phone away or I turn it off because I'm very attached. So, but when I'm spending time with friends and family, I just like turn it off. I try to stay present that way. As far as being mindful, I read a lot, I meditate, I try to reflect a lot. I've been journaling recently, so that's been helping me as well.
That's a great way to. I love that you said that you disconnect from your phone. No one has mentioned it before, but it's a really great way to be present, because our phone can take us to so many places and thoughts and so it can really make us ungrounded. Yeah. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, especially me who loves to be on Instagram and everything.
Yeah, so it's a mindfulness practice. Thank you so much for sharing. And I'm so excited to talk to you today. We're going to talk about human design, but maybe you can start by introducing yourself to the listeners, who you are and your background.
Of course. So my name is Serva, and I am Kurdish from Iran. My family moved here many years ago. I think I moved to the States when I was 5, and I've just been on this journey of self-discovery and finding myself, because when I was little, we moved around so much. I never really had a chance to build or form an identity, and it was really just hard. I spent so much time fitting in and learning languages and just trying to assimilate to every culture that I was, in connection with. Or interacting with, that I didn't have time to really get to know myself. So the last 2 years, I went on this self-discovery journey the hero's journey basically, and started learning more about myself. And not too long ago, I was listening to a podcast, and I was also meditating and started becoming more spiritual. And I was listening to this podcast, and I heard the word projector. Now, for people who don't know anything about human design is basically um, astrology on steroids. It's a system that you can use like an inner compass. It's like your soul contract, your blueprint. And each of us has a different blueprint. And it's very unique to us. And there's a certain way that we're supposed to be interacting with the world because we are energetic beings. And with your human design chart, and if you know what your type is, you can actually interact with people in a very energetically efficient way for yourself. So what I mean by that is so the human design is based off the I Ching, the Kabbalah, the Hindu chakra system, as well as astrology, and it encompasses all of these things. So, and there's 5 different types. We have generators. Generators are people who they're kind of like they're called the busy bees. They have lots of energy. They're the builders. What we call them powerhouses. They're like the life force of this earth. They build and they create, you know. We have projectors. Projectors are here to be guides, and they're here to really just advise. You know, they're here to show us a better way to do things, a more efficient way to do things. They're like the messengers, and they're the guides or the teachers. And we have reflectors. Reflectors, now there's only 1% of reflectors out there. But back in the time, back in the days, like long, long time ago, um, reflectors were kind of known as like the outliers. They were the people that, you know, didn't really fit in. They were either shamans or chieftains or just like the ones that would just go off, but they had lots of wisdom, and they were kind of the students and teachers of life. So a reflector is here to really reflect back to us everything. They're everything and nothing, you know? So they come in with no energy centers. They have no energy themselves, but they absorb ours and everything around so that they can mirror back to us our flaws. They're our biggest mirrors, basically teachers. And we have manifesting generators. Manifesting generators are kind of like generators. They have lots of energy, but they're initiators and busy bees. So not only can they initiate something, being the manifester, they can start a project, but the generator can, they also, with the generator, they also have all the power to pursue what they're trying to build. So they can start it and build it. And then we have manifestors. Manifestors are the original leaders of the world. They were kind of like they were the ones that had the ideas, the projects. They're just the leaders, right? So back in the day, we would call them like the dictator, the tyrants, the pharaohs, the kings, just our traditional leaders. Now, in the 1700s, projectors came down. By the way, let me go back here and explain. The world is mostly broke down in this type of way. There's 70% generators in the world. So lots of busy bees. They're the builders. They have the life force. They bring lots of life and joy into our lives. They're amazing. And there's 20% projectors. And then we have, I believe, 9% manifestors, the leaders. And we have reflectors, which is 1%. Now, before the 1700s, we didn't have any projectors at all. There was just manifestors and generators and reflectors. Projectors came down when there was a new planet. We had, I believe, they found Uranus, and they, you know, there was a need to balance energy. You know, there was a need for guides. We didn't want just traditional leaders anymore. We needed teachers, you know, guides to help us do things a better way, right? So that's kind of how it's broken down. But, you know, so as energetic beings, knowing your type is very important. So when I heard the word projector on, this podcast, I thought, oh my God, this sounds like this could be who I
Mm.
am. My parents are generators, they're busy bees. The more they work, the happier they are, the brighter they are. They have more energy the more they do. Now, projectors are completely not like that. Projectors, they don't have long sustaining energy. They're the type of people that they can amplify energy in the room. So if they're around people that with energy, they can amplify it. We can borrow energy here and there, but we're not really the workers of the world. We can't work for long periods of time. We're here just to be the guides. It's like being the bird and trying to run with the horses. It just doesn't work,
Mm.
right? So I learned, I was like, oh my God, this is why I'm so good at giving advice to people, but I can never really, do it. Like, I think I'm here to be the coach and not the football player,
Mm.
you know? And it really hit home for me. I was like, okay, so my job here is to be the coach, which is what I'm already good at. But I was living my life in a wrong way. I was trying to be somebody else and I was trying to keep up with the world. And it was just leading me to burnout. And which is why, like, I went on this journey to find, myself. And I came across human design and I realized, oh my God, we're all different energetic beings. We all operate differently. And by knowing your chart, you can really understand like how your energy works, how you're supposed to be living in this world.
Mm.
Do
That's so
you have any
so
questions? I know.
beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. This is so interesting because that,
Mhm.
as you explained, it's like a combination of these ancient sciences
Yes.
that have created this. And how do you see, like, if you start understanding your type that you are through
Hmm.
this system, what is the
Yes.
greatest benefit from that?
So, well, okay, it's the best benefit is this. Let's just say, for example, you're a manifester, which you are. I'm looking at your chart right
Mm.
now. As a manifester, you're amazing at initiating things, right? So, but you probably like you do these innately, like are obviously your subconscious and the way that you've lived in the world. Sometimes you're able to really create flow from this. And you're probably just doing things subconsciously without really knowing that this is how you're supposed to be functioning. Or it could be the reverse. You could be completely living the wrong way, like I was,
Mm.
trying to start projects, trying to, work really hard, trying to not using my gifts as like being able to see, you know, um, see how to do things better, see flaws very easily, give good advice.
Mm.
So when you're learning your type, you really harness your gifts. For example, a manifester, you're someone who you're a fire starter. You're here to initiate new projects, a new way of doing things, right?
Mm.
So by knowing, hey, I don't really have to sit here and wait for a cue. I can just start something. But by learning that my strategy is to inform, because human design not only comes with categories, but it comes with strategies and authorities, which we'll get
Mm.
into. So each type, it's very dense. You not only have a type, but you have a strategy, you have your authority, and also your manifestation, like how you manifest things with your arrows. There's so much that goes into human design, but once you learn it, you're gonna end up loving it.
Mm.
So let's explain yours, and hopefully
Yeah,
this helps other people understand
yeah, I'm
too.
looking at it too now.
Okay. So as you can see, like in your chart, when you go onto human design, you can just Google and put in like, how do I find my chart? You see that there's this triangular chart with these little so there's like there's a square, there's like a
Mm.
diamond, there's other things. You see this chart. Some of it is colored and some of it is white.
Mm.
Now, before we get into this, I want to explain what being a manifester
Mm.
is. You being a manifester, again, you're here to start projects, a new way of doing things. You don't really, when you want to start something, you just go, okay? Like you feel it, you're like, oh, I have this idea. I'm just gonna go for it. Um, but the strategy is to inform. So yes, you have a project you want to do. But by learning your strategy, by telling people, hey, listen, I'm going to start this and this is how I want it done, you can get generator help to come help you complete your project. So by learning that, hey, my strategy, I'm a manifester, I can start new projects. And you don't have to pick just one project. You can have lots of projects. You're being a manifester, you're going to have lots of passions, right? But by learning that your strategy is to inform, you can kind of reflect on this and say, hey, like, I know I want to start this, but let me make sure I'm communicating to people what I'm starting. So maybe I have people interested in what I'm doing and maybe they'll help me build it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times manifestors, when they're living, let's just say, their non-theme self is anger. So when you're not getting what you want, you get angry. And that's a sign that you're not living energetically correctly, right? Like we're not using our strategy well. Because if you had communicated your needs efficient, like in a way that would have benefited you, you wouldn't be angry. You would be satisfied. You would be happy that these people are coming to help you. You would be at peace,
Yeah.
because you're like, oh, okay, cool. Like they know what I'm doing. So, but when you don't communicate and you meet resistance and there's people repel you and you feel like, what? No one's understanding what I'm doing, and you become angry.
Yeah. Definitely.
It's true or no?
Yeah, but
Is this resonating for you a little bit?
yeah, I think the anger can be a frustration,
Hmm.
and it depends on how, like, exactly what situation it is, and yeah, we express our, like in Chinese medicine, anger is it comes from the liver, so it can be
Hmm.
expressed in different ways in the body as well. Certain emotions come out physically in the body as
Yeah.
discomfort or something. So yeah, that's
It's very interesting with
mm,
human design. Like you're like, oh, if I'm upset right now, it's because, maybe I didn't communicate. What I notice with manifestors is you don't wait, you just start, and which is amazing. It's beautiful because we need you. You need to start something because then you have all, to build, you have the project, the builders come build. It's a whole beautiful system. We all work together, right? And we're all completing each other.
yeah.
But we have to follow our strategy to kind of help us complete our projects in a very like seamless way. So remember, your strategy is to inform, okay? And every type has a different strategy. Mine is to wait for the invitation. Yours is to inform. Now, we're going to go into your inner authority. Now, authority it's basically like a kind of like an intuition, right? With yours, your inner authority is emotional solar plexus. What this means is whenever you're extremely emotional, do not make decisions because you are seeing red and you probably will regret your decision.
Yeah, it's very
Do
emotion
not
driven.
act.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'm also an emotional authority and I love my solar plexus, to be honest. I'm learning it and it's so easy now for me. When I'm upset, I know it's temporary. I just need to cool down and then I'm okay. So for you, like learning to manage, like do not make decisions. Don't act out of like emotion. Just wait until the waves calm down. And then you're able to see clearly and you can actually make good decisions and it won't hurt you and you won't regret them.
Yeah.
But in the heat of the moment or like when you're hurt, walk away Try to like calm down.
Mm.
You know, chances are you're still going to be angry the next day. Just wait. And then once the wave is just a little bit more calm, you can hear your intuition. You can really, you'll know what decision you should be making.
Mm. Yeah, that sounds good.
Now, profile,
Mm.
we're just going to go down because there's so much to this.
Yeah.
Um, Now, your profile is a 3-5. So when you want to tell people, when you want to like introduce yourself to someone, if they're gonna ask you what's your human design, you're gonna say, I'm a manifester and my profile's a 3-5 and my
Mhm.
authority is emotional.
Mm.
And it just
Okay.
kind of breaks down everything for you.
Yeah.
But your profile is basically the type of manifester that you are. Now, the 3 in the front means it's something that you're more aware of. The 5 is something that other people are more
Okay.
aware of. A 3 is
Mhm.
the martyr. But this is your soul contract with the universe. You basically said, throw me into the fires. Um, you are a volunteer. You came down to earth to go through the hard stuff so that you could teach it. You're here to show us, like, by going through the hard stuff, you gain all the lessons, and then you're able to kind of influence
Mm.
others with that, right? You're here to learn. So as a martyr, you kind of volunteered
Mm.
for the hard stuff.
Yeah.
You're like, I'll go first. Sure, I'll run into the
Mm.
fire. No problem. Piece of cake. So that's the 3,
Okay.
the martyr. Now the 5 is very tricky. I love the
Mm.
5. I also have a 5. 5 is like you're kind of this people project onto you. It's the heretic. So you're the kind of like the messenger. You're here to share insight with people. You kind of like break systems or challenge systems and things. You're that person that really says really radical things, and everyone's like,
Mm.
"Whoa." Um, Now the 5 is also um, like a savior. People project onto the 5. People see you as their super like hero, or they might not see you as, they might just be like, oh,
Mm.
she's just a heretic. But it's the way that they see the 5. People project onto you. They kind of see you. You have this appeal of like, you can
Mm.
talk to anybody. You can engage with everyone. You're very, when you are talking to some people, they see lots of potential in you. And usually, 5s, people come to you for help all
Mm.
the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the 5.
I'm just agreeing.
And then your definition is, yeah,
Mm. So
I know there's
interesting.
so much in human
Yeah.
design. It's interesting and it's
Mm.
so dense. It takes
Yeah, I
years
can
to learn
imagine.
this.
It's because it's so many
Um,
different it's so many different angles
mhm.
and components to it. So it's really interesting, and it goes
Yes.
like into like very deep things, and how interactions are with others. I think it's really interesting. Yeah.
Yes,
Hmm.
it's beautiful. Now, your definition is single, which means you're able to create
Mm.
easy flow in your life. All the lines are connected with your energy motor, your throat, and your spleen's
Mm.
connected, which is awesome. Now, going back to your chart, you see that there's some colored in
Mm.
and some of them are white, right? So what this means is that when it's defined, it means you have energy from that area. So from your solar plexus, you have energy. It's
Mhm.
defined, it's connected to your throat, and it's connected to your spleen. Spleen is like fear,
Mm.
anxiety. It's like um, the instincts. So that area, so you have strong instincts, you have that, um, and you also have your solar plexus to kind of give you energy. Your throat is defined. Um, so what this means is these are the places that innately you have
Mm.
energy. So you were born with this. Now, in the places that are
Mm.
white, what that means is you are open to impression from the outside world in your
Mhm.
white areas. For example, your roots
Mm.
completely open, right? But you have a few gates highlighted, which we'll talk about gates on
Mm.
another podcast because those we're gonna
Mm.
need another
Okay.
hour.
Mm.
But your root chakra being open, what that means is whenever you're around somebody who has a defined root, you're going to pick up their pressure to do and go. So you're maybe around some people and you suddenly feel like, oh my God, I'm running out of time. I got to do so much. I got to go, go, go. But the thing is, you're not really supposed to utilize that area as much. That's why you weren't born with it, but you can borrow. So if you do have something to get done, you can be around somebody that has that route defined so that they kind of give you the push you need. You can borrow to get it done. But remember, because your body doesn't have a defined route, it doesn't really know how to handle lots of pressure. So you might get overwhelmed and burn out very quickly when you're around people that are go, 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 go.
Okay. Mm.
So you just need to manage your timing. So, like, let's just say I'm going to hang out with Susie for a couple of hours because more than that, I feel really tired and drained, and the pressure of to get things done is just too much.
Yeah, yeah,
You see what I'm saying?
definitely. And
Yeah.
I think just from astrology perspective, like I myself have a lot of like this airy energy, like always being like that. Yeah, exactly.
Vata.
So it's really important for me to ground, but it can be like periods of times when I'm like flying around and everything is fast. I'm very fast in my like the way I am in my thinking and yeah.
And your starting abilities,
Exactly. Yeah.
because you're a manifester, you're here to just start them. But that's why we have
Yeah.
to utilize see how it's kind of making sense now? Because you being a manifester, you're very
Yeah.
good at starting stuff. You're very quick. If you want to do
Yeah.
something, you just do it. But by communicating, you can get the help you need to push things even more further ahead for
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah, I can see that.
And then realizing, you don't have the sacral energy, which is like life force energy that generators have. It's good to utilize, like we all complete each other. There's no good sign, bad sign. There's no bad, human design. It's just how you're interacting with people changes when you learn your chart. You're like, okay, I understand why I get overwhelmed by this person, or I understand why this person right now is making me very happy. You start learning the energy, and then things stop becoming personal. It's actually very healing.
Yeah, I can see that.
It
Yeah,
really is.
definitely.
Like for me, it's completely
Wow.
changed my life.
So interesting.
Um, but yeah, like in the spaces that you're open, too much pressure there. It's your body doesn't know how to handle it. It wasn't born to manage all that pressure, all that creativity, all that ego, motivation. So it doesn't really know. And when you feel it, it's tenfold, right? So it's too much, kind of like an empath. Um, if you had a solar plexus open, you would be a true empath. And true empaths, they don't know how to deal with pain. They don't really know how to deal with lots of emotion. So they start feeling our emotions 10 times more than we feel them. So tomorrow, you and I will be fine because we had our mood swing, we had our crazy wave. We're fine. Everything's clear. We're over it. They're not over it. Like, they need to go and take long walks. They have to spend some time away from us. They have to really cleanse that energy out of their body
Yeah.
because it was never really theirs and they were just soaking it up. So picture yourself in these areas of roots, sacral, your ego, motivation, and the mind. Think of yourself as sponges there. You're soaking up people's stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's beautiful. Like I see that you have a gate 64 and 63 like me. So you have like psychic
Is
abilities.
that on the crown chakra then? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Now your arrow, what I love to tell people in a reading is how to manifest. Because everyone's like, okay, Serva, like, law of attraction and and I'm like, yeah, okay, we're gonna manifest. but you're gonna learn by using the chart, you're gonna manifest kind of quicker actually, because you'll realize how you're supposed to
Mm.
be manifesting. In your case, your arrow, top right arrow goes to the
Mm.
right. What that means is you're a general manifester. So when you're bringing in things, let's just say you're calling in something, you want to leave your options open. Be a little bit more general, not too specific. Like, say, for example, if you want to, like a car, you don't really need to tell the universe what kind of car
Mm.
you want. The universe will give you what your communication with source or universe or God, whatever you want to call it, is in a very general
Mm.
way.
Mm.
Does that make sense? You don't have to tell universe, I want a black car, uh, that's a
Mm.
Maserati, blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
blah. Okay, you just tell universe, I want a car, and it brings you exactly more than what you're asking for. It'll always
Mm.
pleasantly surprise you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does that, yeah. So I'm the opposite. My arrow goes to the left, and I have to be very specific. So when I'm calling in for something, I have to know exactly what I want. There has to be lots of clarity. So I have to know exactly the type of car, the color,
Mm.
everything.
Yeah.
And that's when it comes into my life, I get exactly what I asked for. But with general manifestors, you guys get to be a little bit more general, and the universe always gives you more than you even think, you even imagine. So you will always be happy with
Mm.
what you're getting.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So if, like, for
Mm-hmm.
example, you want to get, yeah, it is really, it's when you learn this, and I'm sure if you start paying attention, you know that you've been doing this
Mm. Yeah,
subconsciously all the time.
exactly. Definitely.
You, I'm sure. So what I love to do is I tell people, start playing with human design. Now that you know you're a manifestor, start communicating, start informing people of your projects, see
Mm.
what happens. And know that, like, if people are repelled by you, or, like, let's just say somebody is just not vibing with your energy, they're not meant to. You're not the type of person, you have a, like, that's your energy. You're gonna call in who you
Mm.
need.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like, as a manifestor, not everyone's gonna want to be around you, and that's okay, because it just means they're not for your highest good
Mm.
at the moment, right? So energetically, it's just not gonna work, because they're repelling you, or you're
Mm.
repelling them, whatever. It means that it's meant
Mm.
to be this way. You're not here to be friends
Mm.
with
I
everyone.
get that. That's interesting. And how does and when it comes to, because the I Ching, I mean that's also from like the tradition of Chinese medicine, right? Uh, yeah,
Mhm, the I
and
Ching, yeah.
I'm wondering how in this, because one thing that a lot of people are interested in is like health and how to, because in Chinese medicine we have like like a body type, and we have certain, but it can always be balanced. That's the principles. And in Ayurveda we also have the different constitutions. But how can you see uh, health in this, in these charts? Yeah.
In the system. Yeah, it's crazy. There's literally, you can see so much. You can see your fears, you can see your
Mm.
gates, you can see, as far as health, I haven't cracked the
Mm.
code just yet, to be honest. It wasn't part of my
Mm.
initial teachings with Jenna Zoe. It
Mm.
wasn't part of it, and it's just not something I would say I'm
Mm.
the best at. And I don't want, maybe like on another episode I would come
Mm.
and talk about
Definitely.
it. Give me like 2 months,
Yeah.
and then I'll come back and we can talk about health. But it's all
Yeah.
in there. Now, matter of, like, I mean, my mentor right now, who is a human design reader, he's been doing this for
Mm.
20 years, and he studies it every single day, even to
Mm.
this day, because with all of these systems combined, there's so much in human design that every day
Mm.
is a learning day. every day I'm learning something new about it, and I've been studying it for
Mm.
2 years.
Yeah, I think it's
And
like a science that
it's
can be like you can learn for your whole life because it's so much like components in it.
exactly.
Yeah.
But I recently found out because I was curious, like, how do I eat for
Mm.
myself? You know, like you said, like the Ayurvedic, and it's
Yeah.
all in there too. But I was, I just found out that as a projector, because I don't need a lot of
Mm.
energy, I'm not a
Mm.
busy bee, or like someone who has lots of life force energy, consistent energy. I don't need to
Mm.
eat that much. And when I realized this, I was like, oh my God, I've been eating like a
Mm.
generator. Because my parents are generators and they eat all the time because they're burning energy all the time. They're working because the thing with generators, the more they do, the happier they are, the more their light bulb is up. But it all depends on whether they're responding to ideas or projects that really light
Mm.
them up. So they have to wait for their gut to tell them, go, like respond to this project, to this whatever, go
Mm.
build, right? And the more they're doing, they're the people that they get so much enjoyment. They can work like and keep going. Like if they love it, they're not going to
Mm.
stop.
Yeah.
Now, manifestor, I'm sure you also don't have that go, go, go. You're here to start the projects, but you're not going to work like they do because it doesn't light you up the same way.
Mm. Yeah.
For you, you probably get lit up when you're starting something, when you're, starting something new and telling people about it. That's like where your light
Mm.
bulb shines a little bit.
Yeah.
And for me, it's when a projector is seen and recognized because, you know, we're here to advise, but you need people to come to you for
Mm.
advice. And there's a strategy in all of it. Like for you, the strategy was to inform. For me, it's to wait for the invitation. So I need to be seen and recognized for my gifts. And then people will come and ask me, hey, Serva, like, what about this? What should I do here? Then I can advise them. Because if I don't follow my strategy, um, I'm left bitter. Not only does the person not want to hear me, they don't want to follow anything I say, and I lose a little bit of credibility, which makes me sad because I'm not being recognized, which is part of, my design is to be seen and recognized by people who need my
Mm.
service.
Yeah.
But as I'm learning all of this, I'm like, okay, wow, like I don't need a lot of food. I need to wait for like there was so much of my life that had to change.
Mm.
But it's really created more
Yeah,
flow.
that's amazing.
Um, Using it as like an
Mm.
inner compass. And I'm still learning. Like I said, I've been studying it for 2 years now, and I do readings. I help people. I've noticed that I also have like intuitive gifts that um, I can kind of feel people's
Mm.
blocks, and I can see what's missing sometimes, or like what's stopping them from getting to the
Mm.
next level
Yeah.
energetically. I'm like, okay, this person's stuck here because of this and this and this. But human designs kind of helps me convey that message in a different way that makes sense to
Mm.
people. And it's given me the licensing to kind of share my gifts with the world. Um, but yeah, hopefully soon I'll learn the health stuff and then we'll do an episode
Yeah,
about
that's
that.
so interesting. Because in Chinese medicine, in traditional Chinese medicine, like our personality is also formed through, and how we react to things are formed through our organs, and everything is connected. So it's really interesting, and I'm so happy that you took your time to about your work, about human design, and also reading my chart. I hope that people are inspired to check out their own charts now, and to, if they need also guidance, you do uh,
Mhm.
personal readings, right, for people? Yeah, and you do it.
Yes, yes, I do.
Mhm.
I started reading
You do it
about.
online and in person.
Mhm.
Mm. Okay.
I do it through Zoom. Yes, yes, I do it in person if they
Mm.
live in, Orange County in LA. I do
That's
Zoom and I
amazing.
do
So
by
how
the
can
phone as
people
well.
connect with you then?
I would love for you guys to
Mm.
find me on Sincerely Serva. There's like a form there. It's a link in the profile to how to book a reading with me. And yeah,
Mm.
you guys can also like and
That's
follow my
amazing.
stuff.
And I will share all of your links in the show notes. And do you have any last thing that you want to share with the audience before we close the call?
Yes, I want to just make sure that everyone understands that human design is an experiment between you and your, like it's between you, and the chart. It's an experiment to say, hey, this is what I think. I'm gonna look at this chart
Mm.
and I'm gonna try to see if this is true. And you're gonna start playing with these things that you're learning about it, and you're gonna see how it makes your life easier. And if it doesn't work, that's okay. But to be open to using it, to experimenting with it, using it as
Mm.
an inner compass to bring more flow in your life. Um, we have to understand that we are co-creators with the universe, but we have to learn how to communicate with the universe better to be more in flow, to be more energetically, aligned with the things that we're calling in and how we want to change our lives. So I think that using this also as a tool to do that, aside from whatever else you're doing, can really help
Mm.
you change your life
Mm.
because it really did change mine. And I hope that everyone's open to it and willing to learn about it. I can't wait for a time um, in history where everyone knows
Mm.
human
Yeah,
design like they know
it's so
astrology.
interesting, really fascinating, and I think it can be a great thing to learn and understand. So we take all of these ancient wisdoms and put them together. Thank you so much for sharing and being here today. Thank you so much for listening this week. I'm so grateful for you and your presence, and thank you so much to everyone who leaves reviews and ratings on iTunes. I always do a free oracle card reading for those that do. So if you do, you can take a screenshot and send it to me on Instagram at Law of Positivism. And you can find all the show links in the show notes. And if you want to connect with Serva and have a reading, you can find her links in the notes. So let's take a deep breath in together, in through the nose, and exhale out through the mouth. And namaste.